Hey everyone, it's Michelle, the Dreaming Dilettante, and welcome to our second episode in the Let's Make a Junk Journal series. And today we're going to be focusing on the pages. But before we do, we're going to go ahead and add a little embellishment to the cover. Now, this is completely optional. Of course, you can use anything you'd like. I'm using this image from a children's book. I'll link the book in the description box below if you're interested in it. It has some gorgeous illustrations, and I think that if you're looking for that kind of feel for your cover, you'll definitely want to check this out. So I just attached it with some Mod Podge. I like to use the matte Mod Podge, and I just am using a little bit of a heat gun here just to help set it and dry everything really quickly. So I used the Mod Podge on the back of the picture and then went over the picture to kind of adhere it down and make everything nice and sealed in. And then I'm going to set that to the side while we start to work on our pages. So this is really where you can start to get as creative as you want. I have some old stationery here that I'm going through, and I'm taking a few pages that I'm going to be using in my journal. You can literally use anything. You can use copy paper, which that's what you'll see me folding here. I have some copy paper from, I think I found, oh, somebody was giving it away for free in the building where I have my studio. So I have actually taken this copy paper. It's a legal size, I believe, which is 11 by 14. And I have trimmed it down. I think I folded it in half and then half again so that I have pockets. So I'm just going ahead and folding them in half one more time. I hope this makes sense. But anyway, you could use whatever you want. As I said, you can use plain copy paper if that's what you have. You can use coffee dyed paper, tea stained paper, book pages, construction paper, whatever you would like to use, you can use. And this is where people really get creative and let things shine in their junk journals. As far as how many pages you want to use and that sort of thing, it's really personal preference. I tend to do 3 signatures because I like the way that looks and I find it very easy to sew the spine in for me personally. But you can do really whatever you want to do. I'm using some old envelopes that I have there, and I'm going to show you if you have pages that are running vertically that you want to put into a junk journal without having to fold them so they're sideways. I'm going to show you how to do that here as well. It's a really quick and easy way if you want to attach 2 pages together to make and then fold them in half. It's a lot of fun and easy way to do that. So in order to take 2 vertical images and have them folded in half like book pages, all you want to do is use some masking tape. You could also use washi tape if that's what you have available to you. I'm leaving a little bit of a gap, and then I am using the masking tape to tape the 2 pages together. I haven't tried this with a clear, like a cello tape. It might work. I don't know. I think it would be a little too gummy when you go to sew the signatures in because those tend to be a little stickier, if that makes sense. But you can definitely try it and see if your needle is able to get through it when it comes time for the signatures. Maybe do like a test run on a piece just to see. But all I did is I take the masking tape and make it a little longer than the height of the 2 pages. And then I wrap it along the bottom there. And then I'm going to take another piece and run it around on the other side. And this is a really simple way to take those vertical pages and add them into your junk journals. Something fun too that you can do is make pockets and tuck spots in your journal while you're putting your pages together. So you see I have 2 pieces of paper here that are different sizes, and so I am using the same technique where I am just adhering the masking tape, making sure it doesn't go below the shortest piece so that I don't have anything sticky sitting up. And then I am folding up the bottom piece there, and then that'll be like a little tuck spot where you can put pictures, ephemera, little notes, whatever you want to use it for. And I'm just using some tacky glue here to attach the sides only with just a thin bead rather of glue, and I'm just adhering those down, and now you've got a little built-in tuck spot in your journal. So now that I've kind of decided the types of pages I'm going to be using, I'm going to go ahead and add a little embellishment with my sewing machine. Now don't worry if you don't have a sewing machine, this is just one way that you can add some interest. And I forget what color thread I had in here. It might have been like a pink. It was yeah, it's pink. I can see at the top. It was whatever I had been sewing with earlier. And I'm going through, I think I was trying to use a zigzag, but I don't think it worked out to be a zigzag. And you can sew whatever you'd like, but it just gives a little bit of an interest. And for the pages that I'm using, if you remember, I said that I had some legal size paper, which is 11 inches by 14 inches here in the States. And I was sewing one side of it to make pockets at the top, or sewing it the other side to make pockets at the side. You'll see me do those later. And I'm going through right now all of my fabric scraps, and I'm going to stitch some of those onto the sides to make little tab type decorations. Now, if you don't have fabric scraps, don't worry. You can use things like old t-shirts and stuff like that, or you can use paper. You can use interesting images. You don't have to sew. You could glue them on. So don't let what I'm using here be a limitation. Consider it just something, a way to start and get some ideas. So you could go through some old clothes that you have maybe that are not the best to donate, or that you just have sitting around, and you could make little scraps. If you were making this as like a baby book, you could use some old baby clothes if you wanted to give this as a gift to somebody. All kinds of things that you can use. So don't let what I'm using be a limitation. Just let it be kind of a starting point for you to get some ideas on things and ways that you can embellish your pages. So I am, as I said, going to be alternating how I am sewing these pages so that I have tuck spots either on the sides or through the top. I may not use them, and they may not all get filled with different things as we go through and add some more embellishments later on. But this is just the starting point. So this is just, I'm making a basic book, getting things settled so that I have some interest, some decoration, and some things that will keep the book from being just a blank page that's looking back on you. That's kind of my goal when I start off. But I also don't like to embellish my books too much where I feel like they're already completed. I like the person that's going to be getting them to be able to put their own stamp on it and work on it however they want. So for me, I don't tend, and even if it's a book I'm making for myself, I know that how I'm using it today is not necessarily how I'm going to want to use it, when I actually sit down to complete pages in the book. So it allows me to have lots of different things to use and different techniques to try out, but also keeps it from just being this blank book that I now have to kind of figure out what I'm going to work on. So basically what I'm going to continue to do here is just adding some stitching and some sewing to all these different pages. At some point I change the thread out. Sometimes I'm adding fabric to the pages, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I decide to get a little lace and I add that. So these are all just ideas, and I just kind of go through, grab each blank page. I did not decorate any pages that were already decorated, like the stationery pages that you saw me putting together with the masking tape, because I felt like they already had images on them, so I didn't have to go ahead and decorate those. And I was also trying to have a little bit of a cohesive feel, so all of the plain white paper was getting the same kind of treatment. And then I'm going to come back and maybe add some embellishments down the road when I'm putting the book together. But for now, I think for the purposes of our tutorials here, this is a great starting point. So I would encourage you to go get your papers together, gather them up, decide whether you want to do some stitching. You can do stamping, you can leave them blank, whatever you want to do, and start gathering them up and putting them together so that we can go ahead, and in our next week's video we're going to focus on stitching together all of our signatures. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.